Do you want to know the exact systems my team uses every day while we do wholesaling real estate? But not only that, do you want to know what each system and how it pertains to each position in the company? Stay tuned. Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Graylan Stewart. I own a virtual wholesaling company. We do fix and flips and buy rentals as well. So today I'm going to go over the exact systems that my team uses on a day-to-day basis. But not only that, I'm going to break down like what system is used for each position, why they use it, and how it's used, and that kind of thing too. So first off, in my business, we break our business down into 4 parts, basically. Okay. So number one is lead gen or marketing. Okay, without lead generation and marketing, you can't do anything else. So that's kind of the step one, in which I currently do that in my business. The second part is lead flow, which is acquisitions. Okay, they kind of manage the leads coming in and the whole flow of that, and hopefully turn those into deals. Okay, so next position is deal flow, which is transaction coordinator. Okay, so they manage the deal flow once acquisitions gets the leads into deals. Okay, then we have deal sales, which is dispositions. Okay, obviously they sell the deal to our cash buyers or on the MLS and that kind of thing. Okay, so we got lead gen, lead flow, and deal sales. Okay, all right, so let's break it down. So first we have our lead gen, which is marketing, and as I said, I currently hold this role in our company, just because I feel like it's the most important thing, and I just haven't given that position up yet, and I will eventually, but for now I do all the lead generation. We do a lot of different marketing channels, pretty much everything you think of except for TV and bandit signs. Nothing against those, I just don't do them, but I basically do everything else. So what I use to do those things, aside from, I'm talking about what we use daily, okay, on a day-to-day basis, because there's a lot of softwares and processes and systems and stuff, websites or whatever, that we use in addition to the ones we're going over today, okay? But what I use every single day for lead gen is PropStream, CallRail, ZenCall, Podio, and Roar, okay? Let me tell you what all those do. So CallRail is basically what everything starts with. So in my opinion, even if you're brand new, the least that you need is a phone system of some sort, just because you don't want to use your personal cell phone and you want to be able to track everything that you do. Okay, so CallRail does that for us. It basically is our tracking mechanism for everything that we do. Okay, so I use CallRail, and that's integrated with a lot of other systems that we use. But I use PropStream. We pull lists from PropStream. You can pull a lot of different types of lists from PropStream, and I do have a link in the description if you're interested in that service. And we also use ZenCall. So what ZenCall is a dialer. Okay, we have cold callers that call every day. Currently I have 4 full-time cold callers that call all day every day, and ZenCall is the platform that we use for that. So it's a dialer just like Mojo or Call Tools, or there's different ones I think out there, and I'm not real familiar with those. I've used Mojo before in the past, but we use ZenCall. That's just the system that I chose to use because it's a little cheaper than Mojo, but not only that, it can do 12 lines at a time as opposed to just 3, and it integrates with my Podio system. So that brings me to the next one. Obviously I use Podio every single day for marketing, just because all of these things integrate into Podio. Okay, another one that I use is Roar. That's ROOR. That's how you spell that. What that is a texting and RVM service, because obviously we do texting and RVMs at a mass, kind of mass text and mass voicemail drops. So yeah, SMS obviously is text messages. So we send 5,000 messages every single day to all the different lists that we have, and that's integrated into our Podio. So we have 2 different spots in Podio that our lead flow handles, which is our acquisitions, which I'll go over there here in a second. But Roar really is is just a holding place to set up all these campaigns, and then that's integrated into our Podio system. Okay, so that's lead gen and marketing in general. So that's the 5 main ones that we use. There are other ones, obviously, when you do skip tracing and different things like that, but we don't do those. We don't use those things every single day. But all these things we use pretty much every single day. All right, so that brings us to lead flow, which is acquisitions. Okay, lead flow and acquisitions, obviously, they're the ones handling the leads coming in from the marketing efforts of that lead generation. Okay, so obviously CallRail is a big one because all of the marketing runs through CallRail, which is integrated into our Podio system, and that tells us what campaigns that the actual call or lead came from. Not only that, it tells us the list that it came from as well if you set it up correctly. Okay, another thing that acquisitions uses every single day is PropStream. Every purchase that acquisitions makes, we base all of that on cash comps in the area. Okay, but also that gives us the high comps so that we know kind of what it can sell for on the retail market. But the cash comps are telling us what cash buyers are paying, so we just have to be lower than that amount. So if cash buyers are paying $70,000 in the area, we want to lock that deal up, $50,000 to $60,000, so that we have some profit margin built in already. Okay. Also, every single day, lead flow and acquisition uses the county assessor local to that area and Zillow. There's a lot of people that hate on Zillow, but I love it. Obviously, the Zestimate and all that kind of stuff isn't always accurate in every area, but it's not even about that. It's about they do have a lot of information on there to where you can find cash comps, you can find real comps just to kind of gather what your ARV might be. But really, that's what they use County Assessor and Zillow for, is to kind of gauge what the ARV is. And then they use PropStream to gauge what cash buyers are paying, so we know where we need to be, and kind of gives them a good ballpark all the way around on the deal. Okay. Also, our acquisition uses ZenCall because all incoming calls are all coming through ZenCall, so they're logged into ZenCall all day long. And also, if they want to make phone calls, they typically do it through ZenCall, and that is obviously tracked through CallRail as well. Okay, so ZenCall is just kind of our phone system to dial in and out, and CallRail we use mostly for just tracking purposes only, for the most part. These first 2 positions at least. Okay, then also our acquisitions uses Investor Lift as well, which I've talked about that in other videos. I do have a link for that as well if you're interested in Investor Lift. What that does for us, so my acquisition uses it just to see where the cash buyers are. Not only PropStream, but Investor Lift has all of them. Okay, so for example, if there's a property in some small town in a place you've never been or never done a deal in, acquisitions can type in the address in Investor Lift under the lead section, and it'll tell you all the cash buyers within that area. It'll tell you within a half mile, or if you want to go even as much as 15 miles or whatever. So we always use Investor Lift for acquisitions because a lot of times it saves us time and trouble. Because if there's a deal in a little podunk town in Kentucky or whatever, and there's no cash buyers out there, then we're not even going to lock it up. Even if we get it, 40 cents on the dollar, we're probably not going to lock it up. And Investor Lift helps us do that, saves us time and energy on the deal. Because obviously, in the past, we've just locked up deals. If we get a good price, that makes sense, then it's like, okay, we're going to take a chance and try to sell that thing. But, Investor Lift kind of weeds those out for us to where we don't waste time and energy on those properties. However, if we do get a property, let's say 20 cents on the dollar, we're probably going to take a chance on that anyways, because maybe we can sell it on Facebook Marketplace or just take it down ourselves with private money or hard money and then sell them in the MLS. So sometimes those make sense, but not all the time. But really, they gauge that, all through Investor Lift. And then obviously, finally, DocuSign is important because we are 100% virtual. Even if we got a deal in the backyard of where our acquisition manager is, they're not allowed to go look at that property. We're a virtual model, and that's kind of how we've always been set up. So DocuSign is huge for us. But technically, we don't use DocuSign directly. DocuSign is integrated into my Podio system as well. So once acquisitions gets a deal, they just click the button it sends them a contract and that kind of thing. So those are the main things that our lead flow / acquisition managers use every single day. Okay, so then that takes us to deal flow. So once acquisitions has a deal, that goes into deal flow for our transaction coordinator, because now they are managing all the deals that we have under contract. So obviously that's done in Podio as well. You'll see a common theme. Podio is used in all positions, obviously, because that's our CRM that literally runs our business every day, okay? And the people run the system. All right, so CallRail is huge as well. Not only do we use that for tracking with acquisitions and marketing, but CallRail is just easier for my transaction coordinator to log into, just to call or text directly from. However, we do have it integrated into the transaction coordinator's Podio to where they can directly, text and that kind of thing right from Podio. Obviously, another big one is Dropbox. We use Dropbox for everything. I've been in business almost 10 years now. The last 3 or so have been real estate focused, but I've always used Dropbox in my business. It houses everything. All the documents that we have, all the SOPs that we have, all the properties and pictures and contracts and everything you could think of in my business, even all the spreadsheets that I use. We've got different folders shared with my accountants and that kind of thing. So everything that I do and I have, every document of any kind, any software, as far as like spreadsheets or Word documents, PDFs, those kind of things, they are all housed in Dropbox. But the next one is obviously DocuSign. Transaction coordinator doesn't use this as often, but sometimes we have to do addendums on properties and those kind of things. So they will log directly into DocuSign occasionally to send out addendums and that kind of stuff. And then obviously our transaction coordinator does use the county assessor website and Zillow and things like that as well, because in our process, so acquisitions, obviously they always vet the deal and make sure they have a deal, because obviously they have to know ARV to be able to know what to offer, right? So they're always looking for ARV and kind of basing everything off of that. But transaction coordinator also, it's just a second check. They're just double checking, make sure the ARV is correct. They're also kind of putting eyes on it to see what we could potentially sell that property for. So that's why they always look at county assessor and Zillow as well. It's just a second check, get eyes on it that second time. But then that takes us to deal sales and dispositions, okay? So not only will, after the acquisitions gets the deal, it goes into our deal flow for our transactions, but also goes into deal sales for our dispositions, because they're kind of looking at it as transactions is doing their thing, because really they're just kind of gauging and looking at it, and they're not really able to market that property to sell it until transaction coordinator gives the okay for it. So obviously they're looking at county assessor and Zillow as well. But not only that, my disposition manager is a realtor, so they have MLS access. So they're also looking on MLS to where obviously that has a lot of properties that have sold, on the market, on the retail market. So, but yeah, they do a triple check, basically. So acquisitions gives their opinion on the ARV and maybe what they can sell it for. Transactions does a double check, looking at the ARV and what we can sell it for. But dispositions obviously has the final say as far as what we market the property for, because they're looking at everything, the MLS, what is the actual ARV of this property. Let's get top dollar for this thing to make sure we can all make the most money on this deal, okay? But they're also logging into Facebook to post these deals, into the investor groups, deal sales and dispositions. Obviously they use CallRail as well. Like I said, that's mostly a tracking system for us, but they do log into CallRail and it's on their phone, and that kind of thing. So they use CallRail to communicate with different buyers and MLS agents and that kind of thing too. And obviously DocuSign is huge because, once they have an assignment contract, they have to send that DocuSign because we are virtual. And that is done through Podio. So obviously we all use Podio every single day, all day, in every position, because that literally runs our company, okay? And then Investor Lift is the biggest thing that Dispositions uses, because that's the biggest benefit of Investor Lift. It's got all the buyers nationwide in there, and there is a link again if you're interested in that. It's dispogamechanger.com for Investor Lift. But that really does help us a lot, because it'll show us the buyers in that particular area, and all you got to do is click the skip trace button and call those buyers on the spot. So that's more powerful than email blasts or anything else, because it actually shows you the buyers in that area, who's paying the top dollar for them, how many houses they flipped recently, all that kind of stuff. So that is huge and powerful. We use that more than anything for dispositions. So that's really it. That's all the kind of the positions that we have and the different softwares that each position uses. Now, mind you, we probably have another 10 softwares that we pay for every month, but they're more like we use them every so often, like different skip tracing services, or different one-off texting type deals, or one-off RVMs, just different stuff like that we use. I mean, literally, there's probably about 20 different softwares that I pay for every month. And obviously, we try to trim that down as small as possible, but at the same time, if it makes you money, then you got to keep doing it. That's just the way it is. But so really, there's about 11 or so that I've figured between all the positions that we use on an everyday basis: CallRail, Podio, ZenCall, Roar, PropStream, Investor Lift, DocuSign, Dropbox, MLS, County Assessor, and Zillow. So if you're brand new, obviously this could get overwhelming, but as you're scaling and you're making this a business, I highly recommend all these things. Obviously, 2 of them I have affiliate links on, which is PropStream and Investor Lift, but I wouldn't recommend those if I didn't think that they were valuable. So that's the only reason I do that. But out of all those, obviously, if you're brand new, I in my opinion, you definitely need CallRail. That was probably the very first thing that I bought back when I started. Almost 3 years ago. It was like $30 a month, and you got 10 different phone numbers, which is huge, because that gives you different marketing channels that you could track. And then Podio was one of the first things I bought as well, because you can do a dumbed down version of Podio. It's like, I don't know, $20-25 a month. Make it do the basic things for you, at least somewhere to house your leads, because as you get more leads, you can't just keep that on a notebook paper. You can, but it's really difficult to really manage that and track them. So in my opinion, that's the 2 things that I would definitely get first off. And even DocuSign, I think they might even have a free version to where you just get a couple per month for free or something. But CallRail, Podio, and Dropbox, I would highly recommend Dropbox, just to keep you organized, at least keeping all the different contracts, all the spreadsheets and different things like that, just housing it somewhere to where it's in the cloud. You don't have to rely on it, saving it to your computer and that kind of thing. So those are the 3 I would definitely do if I was brand new and I got nothing else, because Dropbox is free for a while. Obviously, I pay for it now because I've got tons of stuff in there over 10 years. CallRail is like $30, Podio is like $25. So I would say, for $50 or less per month, you can at least have those 3 things. Then as you grow, you can buy the PropStream, so you can have that every month. It's like $100 a month, but you can do all your cash comps. You get 10,000 records per month, so you can always use your lists from that. So that's pretty powerful. And as you get a little bigger and you need help, dispoing your properties, especially if you're going virtual, I highly recommend Investor Lift, because it'll allow you to dispo properties nationwide without even having a buyer's list, because the buyers are right in front of you. So anyways, that's the things that we use every single day. Hopefully that was valuable. If you have any questions on what these positions do, if you have questions more in depth, I'll be glad to answer them. Just drop me a comment. I always answer every question that we get. And a lot of people will DM me on Facebook or Instagram and that kind of thing too, or right here on YouTube, which is fine. So let me know. I'll be glad to help you out, do the best I can to help you. I just try to give big time value. So hopefully this is beneficial. If it was and you've stuck around this long, please subscribe if you haven't already. Please like and share and drop me a comment, and I'll be glad to help you out. talk to you guys later. See ya.